Russ Heltman with All Bearcats here. Excited to welcome on offensive coordinator and wide receivers coach Brad Glenn. Coach Glenn, obviously we're through higher ground.
Yep.
Install, I'm guessing mostly done.
Mostly
Just
done.
working on getting the two deep ready, getting the guys ready for week 1 EKU.
Yep.
How has the install gone overall over the past couple weeks at higher ground?
Install was great. Higher ground was great. Got a lot of work done there from a lot of different people, a lot of different positions. So very successful. The other thing about higher ground is just how close you become as a team, which a lot of people don't think about that. They think about scheme and plays and players and all that, but just the chemistry those guys developed out there was phenomenal. Started working on EKU today as a staff. Got a little install done out here. Practice one for those guys. It's going good. Players picked it up well, and just excited to play against somebody else. I think we're kind of tired of going against our own defense and them too. So excited for EKU.
Is there a team bonding moment that stood out or that comes to mind first from the past couple weeks?
You're just out there and there's no distractions.
Right.
It's just you and the team, and I think it's just something simple is going to sit down and eat. With people maybe you don't interact with on a daily basis. So the bonding just went through the camp the entire time. So it was a great experience for all of us.
How do you guys feel about the versatility in the wide receiver room now, especially when it's finalized now, ready to go going into 2023 versus it was in flux a little bit back in the spring?
Yeah, and we've got 6, 7, 8 guys we feel comfortable with. Very good summer, very good fall camp. Like you said, the versatility of those guys. You got guys that can play multiple spots and that you feel comfortable with, and they've developed the chemistry with our quarterbacks. So nothing but good things out of that spot so far.
With your experience as an OC, just with staffs over the past decade plus, do you find it's good to start with an FCS opponent, an opponent that you guys aren't going to take them lightly at all, obviously.
Yeah,
Eastern Kentucky was a very good FCS team last year.
No doubt.
But do you feel like that's better to have the FCS game first, or would you rather, or have you seen it work out better where you have maybe a tougher opponent first, then the FCS game later in the schedule?
Well, you never really know what you got to that first game.
Right.
It's not any exhibition games like the NFL. We've been going against each other, for a long time now. So any opponent you play, whether it's FBS, FCS, it doesn't matter. But you realize after that first game kind of where you're at as a program. So it really doesn't matter who you go against.
I gotcha. Running back by committee versus bell cow running back.
Yep.
In this system with the wide zone rushing scheme,
yep.
Is there a point in time where you guys as a brain trust as an offense does it depend on the talent? Does it depend on the stamina of the backs? What goes into that in terms of landing on one guy 1 year be the bell cow versus going with maybe 4 or 5 guys that get 30, 40, 50 plus carries in a season?
I think it's a bunch of things that go into it. Number one, like you said, is stamina. Mm-hmm. Can one guy handle the punishment, of 18, 19, 20, 22 carries a game? That gets tough. So it's nice to have several guys that you can trust, which we do. But, and there's some backs that you kind of have to see, where they're at. There's some backs that get better as the game goes on. As the more carries they get, the more confident they get, the better they feel, the better they see things. Their vision gets better. But there's several guys we have in camp right now that we feel like we can count on.
Love it. Last one here for Coach Glenn. Just maybe some guys that maybe stood out at higher ground, maybe not necessarily surprises, but you're like, wow, going into this camp, I was maybe looking for this guy to pop, and he really met the moment and met the challenge.
Emory, our quarterback, I think he had a phenomenal camp out there at higher ground. At the receiver position, Xavier Henderson, mm-hmm. D. Wiggins, Braden Smith, Donovan Ollie, among others. Felt good about several of those guys. Up front, Gavin Grover, is a guy that has had some playing time and some experience. Luke Cander's another guy. Tinsley's another guy. So several guys up front stood out also.
All right. Coach Glenn, thank you so much.
All right, man. Appreciate it.